Good morning, everyone. Well, it's morning here in Los Angeles. Good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you are. It's Sunday here, and this morning I was supposed to be at the Center for Spiritual Living in Pleasant Valley doing a talk with their minister, Pamela Gagan, my dear friend. And since we're all on lockdown right now, and as we should be, we decided to observe that and kind of do this whole talk virtually. So here we are. And I guess this is like our church, right? So I had a few things I was thinking about lately. It's interesting because the Center for Spiritual Living is a church that I have had belonged to for a long, long time, and still a member of the Center for Spiritual Living in Pleasant Valley. But I think I came to it because, like a lot of people, I identified myself as spiritual but not religious. You know, I grew up Lutheran, and I dabbled like crazy. I was definitely a seeker. And I studied a lot of the healing arts, and I went to different churches. I remember in college, I went through this whole Catholic phase where I just loved being in that setting of the Catholic Church in Santa Monica. I just thought it was so grand and glorious, and there was something there that really caused me to look within. And so I spent a lot of time there. I followed Marianne Williamson for a long time. I studied shamanism. What else? Oh gosh, I had a big Buddhist phase where I was super into Buddhism. And then I found Vedanta and my world just changed, because I think that when you say you're spiritual but not religious, it just means you haven't found the right one yet. It's kind of like dating, you know, it's like I'm dating, but I'm not married. And when you find the right one, then you want to make that commitment. And there's a lot of benefits to having a religion. Like in Vedanta, we say that, you know, Vivekananda always said that, you know, when you're digging a hole and you want to find the treasure, it's better to dig one hole and dig deep than to dig several little holes all over the place. And I think that's what happens when we dabble in these religions. We try them out, but we don't go deep. So it's like, oh, okay, I get it. Next, go to the next, dig a hole, don't go deep. But what we don't realize is that the treasure is underneath all of the holes. You just have to dig deep enough to get to it. So like, choose a hole and dig deep, right? So choose a religion, doesn't matter which religion, and dig deep, learn so much from it. The advantage is that, you know, you're following avatars and saints and sages who've been there, done that, and they know, and they're guiding your way on the path. So it makes it a lot easier for you. You don't have to feel like you're all alone, or you're finding your way, or there's nobody that feels exactly like you do. And, you know, believe me, I know that feeling. I felt like the odd man out so many times in various churches that I was in, or centers that I was in, when they're reading the I believe blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, don't know if I actually do believe all that, but, you know, I have my own thing. So anyhow, all paths lead to God. And when we say God, it's the same God by many different names, like a rose by any other name, God by any other name. There's a lot of names for that higher power. And when you can find your path, it just opens up your life so much. So I found this book, which I guess you're probably seeing it backwards, but it says Jesus, Buddha, Krishna, and Lao Tzu, the Parallel Sayings. Richard Hooper. He put together a bunch of quotes from these spiritual traditions, East and West. That was going to be our talk today at the Center for Spiritual Living, East meets West. So Pam was going to talk about the West, and I was going to talk about the East, but here I am talking about the East anyway. So let me give you an example of some of these quotes that really show that when you get into the heart of it, the meat of it, a lot of these religions are just saying the same thing. So, for example, let's do this one. This is a very famous quote from Jesus that you've probably heard before. The kingdom is within you, and one who knows himself will find it. So that's what Jesus says. Krishna comes from the Hindu tradition, and he is the one who speaks the Bhagavad Gita, which, as you guys probably already know, is like my favorite book in the whole world, and I rewrote it into English rhyming verse and called it Song Divine. And if you're interested, you can check that out. But Krishna said, when the mind becomes still, when thinking ceases, this is the beginning of the supreme path. So that was actually in the Katha Upanishad. So Krishna here is representing the Hindu religion, and this is, the Upanishads are part of the Hindu religion. When the mind becomes still, when thinking ceases, this is the beginning of the supreme path. Meditation, right? Prayer, contemplation, going within. This is when we find that divine within. Okay, so the Buddha said in the Kavata Sutra, it is good to practice the way and to seek truth. Being in harmony with the way is even better. So the way, the path, that leads to Buddha. Buddha doesn't even say God, really, right? In this particular, a lot of people don't even call Buddhism a religion, but for the purpose today, we're calling it a religion. So being in harmony with the way, and basically they're saying, through meditation, through stillness, then we find the answers that we're seeking. And then Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, those who say they have found the way have not. That which is eternal cannot be spoken of. It lies within. The eternal lies within. He also said, he who knows the way does not let it show. Neither does he seek to be rewarded by anyone. Those who know the way find their reward within themselves. Very profound. And, I think that what we're all seeking is peace of mind. And when we find that peace of mind, even if it's just for a moment, we know it and recognize it, and we know we're on the right path. We know we're doing something that is for our benefit and that we should continue doing. Okay, so let's look for some others here. This one. Okay, I love this because it's really applicable to what we're going through today. So Jesus said, the wise person who seeks truth is fortunate. Once he has found it, he is at peace and nothing can disturb him. And that was in the book of Thomas. It's that when you find peace, it's because you've recognized the truth. And a lot of times I think that is the right word, recognize the truth, because we all know it. We've just forgotten it, or haven't been able to express it, or haven't found it. It's there within us, and we know it when we recognize it. It's already there. We know it because we recognize it. We go, oh yeah, that rings true for me. Totally. Okay, and in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, mastering the senses, one achieves wisdom. Attaining wisdom, one finds inner peace. And that's in the Bhagavad Gita. See, the senses that we have are, smell, touch, taste, sound, sight. That's what keeps us tied to the physical world. That's what keeps us tied to the material world. So by mastering the senses, it means that we're not letting those horses run away with our cart, right? We're not saying, oh, I have to have that chocolate cake, right? Have to have that designer purse, you know, and we just go there. Mastering the senses means that we know what's really important and we know what the truth is, and we can rein in those senses. It means that if we know meditation practice is good for us, we can sit and meditate and take in the wisdom. You know, that's where we find the wisdom, is in the peace. That's where we can download all the wisdom of the universe that we have access to all the time. But because we're so busy and so focused outside of us, we don't allow that to happen. So sitting still, whether it's in prayer, meditation, contemplation, just being at peace, you get the wisdom. It's really good. Okay, so now Buddhism. Buddhism, in the Dhammapada, it says, wisdom is achieved by those who overcome their natural resistance to diligent practice. So we have this natural resistance to diligent practice, right? Because we always think, oh, we have something better to do, or something more important to do, or oh, gosh, there's all these distractions taking us. Well, I'll get to it after I check Facebook. Oh, I'll get to it after I make this phone call. I'll get to it after I run to the store, you know? Diligent practice means putting our spirituality first, the priority. First thing when you wake up, go meditate. First thing when you wake up, well, you might have to go to the bathroom, brush your teeth, whatever, but before you do anything else, know that your spirituality is important. You know, your practice is important. Sit and meditate, or pray, or read a spiritual verse, or, you know, write in your gratitude journal, whatever your practice is. There's no one practice that's the right way. Just like there's no, you know, we're all, you know, all these different people. There's as many different practices as there are different people. There's as many different, you know, beliefs and faiths as there are people. Okay, so then in the Lao Tzu says in the Tao Te Ching, this is perfect for today. If one is seeking wisdom, there's no need to leave home. Isn't that perfect? I mean, here we are quarantined. We can find wisdom right here at home. We don't have to go anywhere. We don't have to do anything. You know, I know there's all these spiritual retreats you can go on, this Eat, Pray, Love. We got to go to Bali. We got to go to India. We got to go to the Himalayas. No, we don't have to do any of that. All we have to do is do our practice, right? We have all the tools we really need. Anything that we need is within ourselves. We just need to understand that. Okay. All right, so then I've got another one here. This is like so good. Okay, so this, I had talked a little bit on my page about this hoarding situation that's going on, and oh my gosh, I'm hoping that we're getting past that now, you know, that people are starting to see that hoarding is not the answer, because hoarding comes from a feeling of lack. It comes from a feeling of fear, from we don't have enough, or it's insufficient for us. We need more, we need more, we need more. And this is where our practice comes into play, to solve that problem, to know that everything we have is entirely enough. Everything. We don't need anything more. We don't need to want any more. We don't need to desire anymore. We have enough. So Jesus said, love your neighbor as yourself. So this comes into being generous, right? To being generous with our attitude, and with our supplies, and with our kindness, and everything that falls in between, right? Love your neighbor as yourself. So, because really your neighbor is yourself. in the big picture of things. We're all connected. I mean, if this virus has taught us anything in this life, it's that, yes, we are all connected. We breathe the same air. We touch the same doorknobs. We are all connected. We can't help it, and we can't get away from it. We can't escape it. So honor it. Honor it. And I think a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to go out because I don't want to get sick. Oh, I don't want to go out because it's too dangerous for me. Why don't you flip that just a little bit and say, I don't want to go out because I don't want to be a danger to other people. I don't know. I may get it in 14 days. I don't know where I've been or what I've touched or whatever. But if I was responsible for infecting any single person, I would feel so terrible. So if everybody thought that, that we're protecting others, we're not just protecting ourselves, we're protecting others, we're protecting each other, we're there for each other, we're in this together. It makes a big difference, it's just a shift. Okay, so then Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, recognizing what brings pleasure and pain to oneself, the true yogi treats others accordingly. Thus, he desires happiness for everyone, sorrow for no one. Beautiful, right? Happiness for everyone, sorrow for no one. That's what we want for ourselves. That's what we should want for other people. So, because of the political climate, we're all divided, right? But another thing that this virus has taught us is that it doesn't matter what our opinions are. We're still all the same person. We're still all one. We're still all connected. The virus doesn't discriminate and is only infecting one political party or one age group or one gender, or it's not like that. No. So think about, like, when you're giving a gift, what would make you happy? What, do unto others. That's the same thing as love your neighbor as yourself. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. The golden rule, right? Let's all follow that golden rule. So I would want people to be respectful of me and my physical boundaries or whatever right now. And I'm going to do the same thing for them. Okay, then here's what the Buddha said in the doctrinal formula. Seeing himself in others, one who is in a state of higher consciousness feels compassion for all beings and holds only positive thoughts about them. And I absolutely love this because a lot of times we think of Buddhism so much as being in the head, being detached and being, very zen and, oh, it's okay, and the void and the nothingness or whatever. But this is saying that there's so much more to Buddhism than that it's having compassion for all beings, seeing himself in others. That's another way of saying we're all one, we're all connected. We're all in this together. We're here to help each other. So yeah, good for the Buddha. So he gave us some really great advice right there. Let's hold positive thoughts about everyone and not wish any pain or sorrow on anyone. Okay. And then the Lao Tzu said in the Tao Te Ching, nothing but good comes to him who loves others as he loves himself. We got to start there. We got to start with loving ourselves. We got to start with knowing who we are. And when we know who we are, how can we not love ourselves, right? Because we're innately lovable. We're innately loving. This is such an important concept to understand about ourselves, know about ourselves, honor in ourselves. The greeting namaste, when you put your two hands together, which is a great greeting now so that we don't spread germs. Namaste means the divine in me honors the divine in you. It's saying, yeah, I know that I'm divine. I know that you're divine. I'm no better than you. You're no better than me. I honor you. I think that's such a beautiful greeting. So I think that's where I'm going to end today. There's so much more to talk about. And, you know, I want to give you some great Vivekananda quotes and talk a little bit more about Vedanta because it means so much to me. But when you're home today, alone, think about what your practice is. What is that for you? What does that look like for you? And how can you prioritize your practice today? Think about it. Maybe it's meditation. Maybe it's prayer. Maybe it's reading a spiritual book. Maybe it's writing in your gratitude journal. Maybe it's walking in nature and, you know, noticing God in everything you see. Whatever it is, think about what that is for you and how you can incorporate that into your day every day so that you can feel that divine connection, so that you can just, you know, experience it and find that peace in your heart, download that wisdom, and have that, you know, calm, that calmness that we all need right now. Okay, so I love you guys. Mwah. Namaste. See you next time.